Hang on, people. This is an interesting case that's developing. I can't believe they charge him with second degree, but I don't know what Florida statute is. So, police chief and his number 2 police officer, small department out of Oklahoma. Why are, I think they said 7 officers going to Florida for a conference? So they're out there partying. They're out there training. And the police chief and supposedly his friend, the second in charge, they were sharing a room together, got in a fight, and the chief's dead, and they arrested the officer for second-degree murder. I've got 3 different little news clips here, and we'll listen to them because they're all giving a little bit of different information. So according to this, the officer was found dead during a retreat. The Chief Lucky Miller of Mannford was discovered in a hotel room. Mannford officer Michael Neely, 49, was arrested and charged with homicide. They had a booking photo, or I went to the booking area, but it said it was protected under, you didn't have to show it. So we don't know what this guy looks like, whether he's smaller in stature, bigger in stature. We know he's older. One of the reports said he's older than the chief that died. And one of the reports also said that the chief was not shot. So I don't know where they got second-degree murder. I was thinking he punched him out and he fell in the head. And I bet you, I'm thinking he had a heart attack, but let's see what the news says.
Death of an out-of-town police chief killed in Escambia County. Chief Lucky Miller from Oklahoma was killed by another officer. They were both staying at the Hilton Hotel on Pensacola Beach. That's where we find Channel 3's Rebecca Castor, and she has the latest.
Sue, it's definitely not something you'd expect to happen at a law enforcement training seminar. The assistant state attorney tells me that the 2 men were friends, even staying in the same hotel room. But then a physical altercation turned deadly. The Escambia County Sheriff's Office found Chief Miller dead at the Hilton Hotel late Sunday night. The assistant state attorney says Mannford police officer Michael Neely has been charged with second-degree murder. He says there is enough evidence to move forward with this case, even though there are no other witnesses.
I would anticipate.
So that's going to be a problem, that you have 2 people in a room and one's dead. So the one that's alive is a story, the only one that gets told. So as long as this story matches any type of physical evidence, you're good to go. Unless he made a statement or he told somebody contradicting whatever he did. I don't know if he made a statement. They said they don't have a lawyer yet, but I find it interesting that the assistant state attorney, and these assistant state attorneys, I think in some states are like a DA. It's the same as a district attorney. So this guy's already giving a charging and kind of talking about stand your ground, but they don't believe it. I'm like, man, this thing just happened like 6 hours ago. I don't know what they know, but they must know something for him to say that we don't believe it was stand your ground.
Anticipate that any sort of stand your ground or self-defense would be an issue that could be raised in this case. However, based on the circumstances as we understand them at this time, it does not appear to us that that is a legitimate argument, but it is one that we are certain that will be raised.
Officer Neely will face a judge in Escambia County tomorrow morning. Now, Channel 3, we will be in that courtroom, and we're going to bring you the latest information as we get it. For now, reporting live from the Hilton Hotel.
Okay, let's look at another one.
Tonight, accused of murdering his own police chief. KOCO's Evan Asst joining us. Evan, first, obviously, a very sad story, but my gosh, it's kind of bizarre.
Oh, it's incredibly bizarre. It is as bizarre as it is heartbreaking for this police chief's family. I mean, both these men worked for the Mannford Police Department. That's a small town just west of Tulsa. Chief Lucky Miller and Officer Michael Neely were attending a law enforcement conference in Pensacola. Investigators say the 2 were friends and they were sharing a hotel room. But late last night, investigators say there was some sort of physical altercation between the men, a fight, and when they responded, they found Chief Miller dead. And Neely, his officer, is now facing charges of second-degree murder. Now, what they're talking about, we do not know the exact cause of death, but we do know that Miller was not shot. The police chief, 44 years old, he leaves behind a wife and 3 kids. Neely's a little older, he's 49, scheduled to go in front of a judge there in Florida tomorrow.
Likely to hear some charges against him. If not, we'll of course bring that to you as well, but we'll let you know. Continue to follow this case. Like we said, it's just
so many questions.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Evan, thank you.
And in this one, they give a little different story too.
Lucky Miller, a police officer, is jailed in Florida, accused of killing his boss, Mannford Police Chief Lucky Miller. A Florida sheriff tells us they got into a fight in a hotel room. Officer Michael Neely is now facing charges. This happened last night. Several of the people we spoke with in Mannford had no idea their police chief was killed until today.
Channel 8's Haley Huey is live there now. And Haley, you spoke to several of Miller's good friends who can't believe he's gone.
Oh, yes, definitely. This has definitely been the talk of the town here in Mannford today. Many couldn't believe their police chief, Lucky Miller, was killed. But it's who's accused of doing it that's shocking them even more. A trip to Florida for a law enforcement conference turned deadly Sunday night for Mannford Police Chief Lucky Miller.
Just a bad deal. You know, we really hate it.
The Escambia Sheriff's Office in Pensacola, Florida, say fellow officer Michael Neely and Miller got into a fight at the hotel. During the fight, 911 was called only after Miller went into cardiac arrest. He died a short time later, and Neely was arrested for his death. Many people in Mannford couldn't believe this news as it spread through town.
So it went into cardiac arrest. Is that going to be the, how do you get second-degree murder? I mean, unless they can prove that the officer knew the chief had heart conditions and the chief was saying, I don't want to fight, and the guy started beating on him. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how they jump to second-degree murder when two guys fought and one of them dies of a heart attack. That seems pretty strong charging to me, but we'll see.
Well, I was hoping it was fake news, but what a tragedy. You know, I feel sorry for the families on both sides. You know, it's just a terrible loss.
Chief Miller's good friend and Mannford business owner David Tyner says he did a great job protecting and serving his community.
Well, a small community, you know. I mean, everybody knows everybody, so it's going to hit home. It's a terrible loss for the community. He's going to be hard to replace. I mean, he cared about the community, so.
Miller has been chief in Mannford since 2007. He leaves behind a wife and 3 children. With the town mourning the sudden loss, it also means the police department is having to work with fewer officers on the force.
It's going to be tough for a while.
Today, the city administrator, Jerry Ridley, was named the interim police chief. And as for Officer Michael Neely, he will face a Florida judge tomorrow. He is still in jail without bond.
Okay, so they got no bond. He's in jail, second degree. A lot of facts we don't know. If somebody says, you know, this is justified or this is good charging or this is bad charging, we're really talking on minimum information. They're not giving out. I mean, things that they're going to be looking for is who was bigger? Was there a force disparity? Was there a size, age, medical condition? Luckily, the guy that killed him or got in a fight with him is older, so they can't say he was beating up on an older guy because the guy was younger than him. So until we see the size of this guy, is he a lot bigger? Is he a lot stronger? Did they have ongoing issues? Were they one of them sleeping with the other one's wife? All these issues will come up. You know, was there a motive for this guy to want this guy dead in the first place? Did he think he was going to get his job? I mean, this could just go so many ways, but, you know, I guess we'll see how it plays out. It'll be an interesting case. So we'll end that there.